Black Panther. So in Black Panther, T'Challa is crowned King of Wakanda following his father's death, but he is challenged by Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan, who plans to abandon the country's policies and begin a global revolution. So T'Challa is played by Chadwick Boseman, was introduced in Captain America: Civil War, and he was so awesome and such a badass, including his fight scenes, like the stunts and the fight choreography for Black Panther was amazing, and back then I couldn't wait for him for his own solo movie, and here we are in Black Panther. So so going into this movie was just phenomenal. This movie is phenomenal, but I really enjoy this movie. Like it was so this movie is so beautiful and a little bit poetic, and yet and but yes, I do have some issues with this movie. I guess we'll get them out of the way. Better whip the band-aid first before we go into the positive, before we end things off in positive, because I want to end things off in a positive note. So I guess one of my one of the things I noticed in this movie is that oh yeah, there will be spoilers, by the way. One of the issues I had with this movie, and something I noticed, I don't know if anyone else picked it up, but green screen. I noticed green screen in this movie. Like it was so obvious, like it was so noticeable, and so it was so not obvious, but it was very noticeable. Like I felt like I mean, I'm pretty sure other people might notice, but for me, I really noticed it. It was in the scene where T'Challa, he um, he visited his father in the astral plane, where his father hit the spirit of his father's astral spirit, and he's like, and T'Challa and his father are surrounded by other past Black Panthers, and they're basically they're saying, come join us, be with us, and T'Challa's like, no, all of you are wrong to turn your back against um, all of the rest of the world. And it was emotion it was a very emotional, it was a very powerful scene, and a very true scene, and Chadwick was just amazing in that scene. But behind him, yeah, I did notice the green screen. Another issue I had with the movie is the CGI, visual effects, which was a huge disappointment, because this is the MCU. Like I didn't notice any CGI, like bad CGI in the past MCU movies until this one. When Black Panther, it's more noticeable near the end of the movie, where Black Panther and Killmonger are having their final fight scene, and the two of them are falling into the vibranium mine. They're punching and kicking each other. That's when I noticed the bad CGI. I was like, oh yeah. I know there are critics out there who said that in the beginning of this movie, where T'Challa, Black Panther, is rescuing Nakia and the other kidnapped women or whatever. They said that they couldn't really see them because it was too dark. I kind of agree with that. I mean, I can barely see the action, what was going on, but it didn't really bother me that much. It didn't really stick out of my mind. So, yeah, those are all the negativities. Those are all the negatives I had. Well, that scared me. That was my air freshener. If you heard a really loud noise, that was my air freshener. It's like right next to me, like right next to my ear. So sorry about that. But anyway, You know, I. But anyway, those are the negatives, the flaws that I had with this movie. But yeah, the costume, like when I think about the past Marvel movies, none of their scores, from the soundtrack really stuck out to me. Like I did like the soundtrack in Thor Ragnarok. It was it felt very techno. It felt very techno. But in this one, it was so beautiful. I loved the score from from the soundtrack. It was beautiful, and just the way this movie like showed in its the way it this movie left a cultural significance. It made a cultural significance. I mean, this movie, it's like one of the best MCU movies. It left a huge cultural significance on the world. It's like one of the top 10 movies of it's one of my top 10 movies of 2018. It grossed like over $1 billion at the box office. It broke a bunch of records, and it became like the highest grossing film directed by a black filmmaker, Ryan Coogler, who also directed Creed. And I really loved Creed, the first one. But Ryan Coogler did such an amazing job directing this movie. I loved it. I loved it, even though, yeah, like I said in the beginning, there are some issues. This movie isn't A plus, 100% perfect. It's not flawless, by any means. Um, but yeah, this film received numerous accolades, 7 nominations at the 91st Academy Awards for Best Picture for a superhero film. The first, it won so much for best costumes, and the costumes. Oh my god! I could, I could go on and on about the costumes because I love one of the things I love. One of the things I love about the most about this movie is the costumes, like the soundtrack. Yes, the acting performances, but also the soundtrack, the score with the African, the African, like the music, and like the drums and the vocals from like all these artists. It's just the vocals and the drums, and it's beautiful. It's euphoric. And very poetic. Um, Not only that, but this movie has one of the best MCU villains. Finally, another one. Finally, like Red Skull, Loki, Thanos, Vulture, and now I am going to add Killmonger as one of the best MCU villains, because he's not just a one note, one dimensional villain. He's just who's just there to be a villain. You actually get to know some. The movie opens up with like a young Killmonger, and then you find out that he was left behind. His father was killed by his uncle, who's Black Panther's T'Challa's father. And the biggest reveal that Killmonger is Black Panther's T'Challa's cousin. And yeah, that was and Michael B. Jordan, like he brought an emotional side to Killmonger, plus being a badass, and you understand why he believes what he believes in, his motivation, his belief. He wants to, there are countries out there, there are people out there who has the same skin color as we do, and they don't have the weapons, and they don't have the weapons that we have, and we can provide, we can give them to them, but Wakanda is closed off, and you understand where he's coming from. And Andy Serkis, I really love Andy Serkis as Claw. such a shame that he was killed off in this movie. I mean, I don't know. You know, these characters are fictional. They can always come back. You never know what could happen. But until then, you know, I was really disappointed that he was killed off. That it's not a flaw. I don't. It's nothing a flaw. I don't hold a grudge against it. You know, I don't nothing. It is what it is. But you know, it was sad that Claw had to die. Andy Serkis was great, but yeah. I guess that's all. Wait. How can I not talk about Shuri? How can I not? I almost, I almost finished. I was about to close off from this video, but how can I not talk about Letitia Wright as Shuri, T'Challa's Black Panther's sister? Oh my God! Not only is she very smart. Well, we find out that she's actually the smartest character in the MCU. Not only is she the smartest character in the MCU, but I mean, people, you know, that's up for debate, but I believe it. Not only is she the smartest character in the MCU, but she's so funny. Like Letitia Wright brought so much humor to this character, and I was laughing. Not only is she funny, but also Winston Duke as M'Baku, you know, the leader of the Jabari tribe, the gorilla tribe. He's also funny. Like, you do not get to speak. I'm kidding. We're only vegetarians. That was an amazing and awesome line. I was laughing. I was laughing at that line. But yeah. And tragically, you know, we all know this, it's been some time, but tragically, Chadwick Boseman, the actor who plays Black Panther T'Challa, passed away in late 2020. And this thing really shifted the future of the Black Panther franchise. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what they plan on doing. I do know that Black Panther, the sequel, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, it just started shooting in Atlanta, I believe. But I don't know what they're gonna. I believe from what I heard, they're gonna focus on the other characters, like from the other side characters, supporting characters, and also Shuri is gonna have a more prominent role. I don't know if she's gonna be the new Black Panther, but you know, like I said, you never know. You never know what could happen. But it was sad hearing about Chadwick Boseman passing away, and no one in the entire world saw it coming. It was unexpected, and very private. It was a very private matter. But yeah. But anyway, if you've seen Black Panther, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for taking your time and listening to my review. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video with your friends and family, and I will see you soon.